welcome back to another episode of The Takedown, a Splitting Hairs podcast brought to you by Jackrabbit Illustrated. On The Takedown, we focus on South Dakota State Wrestling. I'm Chad Myros, and today I'm joined by my co-host, Jordon Shorrock. Today we'll cover the last month of Jackrabbit Wrestling and look forward to what's coming up. Jordan, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, Chad?
Yeah, not too bad, not too shabby. Can't complain. You know, my wife and I know we were talking a little bit before the show here, but we do a beer advent calendar. It's something we did before they were literally a thing. Now you can go to Costco and like buy your own. So we plan out 24 beers, usually more than that, but and that's what we drink, and we watch a different Christmas movie every night. If you watch the other podcasts that I'm on, you'd know about that a little bit, but this year, last year we had added another beer advent calendar, a wine advent calendar, but I don't know, for whatever reason, it's only 12 days, like the 12 days of Christmas. And then we had bought a cheese advent calendar. And let me tell you, it wasn't cheese. It was cheese food. And cheese food is disgusting. And it was disgusting. I still had one piece of cheese left over in it. I hate to call it cheese. It was the grossest thing ever. It was by that, I don't know, that Tasty that you see those Facebook things for. Anyway, we're kind of off topic, but anyway, we had a friend give us the Costco beer advent calendar. And so we had our beer advent calendar. We bought a spirits beer advent calendar at Sam's Club. We had the wine one that my wife had from last year. We had another one of those. And then we had our regular. So we're drinking a lot every night and watching Christmas movies. That's really the point. And sorry, I'm off topic. Why don't you start us off on some wrestling talk?
Well, you know, what I think I've learned here from you talking there about your advent calendar is that you are in the process of getting your body ready to go for the 4th annual Jackrabbit Wrestling Club and Silent Auction.
You know, I hadn't drank a lot up until the advent calendars. And so that would be a heck of a deal because it's what, $250 for you, and it says one ticket, but it's you and a guest, right? So
yes, you get your ticket is $250. You get a +1. I know that in previous years they have did this. I have not seen this year yet, so don't quote me on this. But in the past, everybody went home with at least one door prize. I do know that they are keeping the grand prize door prize this year, which as they went out throughout the year, they would draw one prize, and then whoever the last person standing was on the board went home with $10,000. That is staying this year, the $10,000. I do not know how they're doing it, but it is a great time. It is January 29th from 4 to 9 at the 9 bar. Like you said, it's $250. It's all you can eat and then complimentary drinks. I'll tell you this much. I went to it 2 years ago, I think it was, whatever year it was before COVID happened.
2018, 19.
Yeah. And I definitely feel like I ate and drank. Me and my buddy went with me. We feel like we ate and drank our $250 worth of booze that night and food from Cubby's. It was all appetizers and things like that. And it was definitely worth it. We went home with some swag, some hats, a t-shirt, that kind of stuff. If you want to go to it, you can purchase your tickets online at jackrabbitwrestlingclub.com. And once again, that is January 29th from 4 to 9 p.m. at the 9 bar.
Yeah, and it's also an excellent way to get to sit and kind of hobnob with the coaches a little bit. They probably refrain from drinking the whole night, I imagine, but you get to hang out with the coaches, get to know them. We have a great coaching crew, and it's a great deal, and it supports the Jackrabbit Wrestling Club again, which helps pay for our wrestlers to go to events outside of the official Jackrabbit, the official SDSU meets and so forth, and it really helps develop our team and our future wrestlers. So something great to support. So you had some info from Coach Hahn. You want to go through that?
Yes, and to touch on that quick before, their coaches Do not refrain from drinking. They love to have a good time. I did see this year that they did it a little different. Usually it's a Friday, Sunday duels, and the auction and raffle is on Saturday. This year we have a duel Friday night. We party Saturday night. Everybody gets to recover Sunday. Nobody has to be to Frost Arena to help kids make weight or do anything like that. So I'm sure it's going to be even a funner time. So now on the next topic here, I want to talk about the best coaching staff in the world here, which we all know that. And if you attend that raffle and silent auction, you'll learn again why we have the best coaching staff in the world here. I just want to give a personal thanks to them, as they know we do this kind of stuff. They also know that I do a couple other things. And like last night I emailed Han, or I texted Han, and I said, "Hey Damien, what's going on? Like, we're getting ready to do our show this week. I was wondering if you know some lineups and stuff like that." Right away, response back, always sharing information. I don't know about you guys with other podcasts, but I just think that's great that we have the best coaching staff in the world that does that and supports this kind of stuff and make sure that we have the right information to give out to all your fans. So I want to give a huge shout out to the coaching staff for that. And the wrestlers, they're always right there too to help us with any questions or anything that we have going on. Now, to talk more about the best coaching staff in the world, Coach Han does a weekly newsletter, after duel newsletter to all fans that he emails out. If you are not part of that, I think there's a way to sign up for it on the Go Jacks app. If not, send Damian Hahn an email. I know that the email is on the Go Jacks website under rosters, but I'm just going to read you one that he sent out last week after Nebraska got canceled and they went to Northern Illinois to wrestle. It says, "Jackrabbit fans, I've said it before. It's going to get worse before it gets better, especially this year. The team was all squared away and ready to compete down in Lincoln this past weekend, but COVID had another plan. I received the call from Coach Manning that COVID had hit their team and would be unable to compete against the Jackrabbits. We instantly began looking for a plan B. We knew the guys wanted to get some competition in, so we began scouring schedules to see where we can go. Luckily, Northern Illinois had a tri-meet scheduled at home. I called Coach Ludwig and asked if we got to DeKalb, Illinois on such short notice, can we turn the try into a quad meet? He said yes, and we scrambled to put together travel arrangements. We loaded up 10 wrestlers, 1 trainer, and 3 coaches in 2 12-passenger vans and hit the road early Friday morning. It was definitely a skeleton crew, and thankfully, no one got injured because we didn't have any other options if they did. When one door closes, sometimes you need to make your own door in the wall and be thankful for whatever opportunity you get." So right there, it just talks about how great of a coaching staff they are. They want our kids to compete and have the best there is, and they went out there and got that for them.
And they know, and they said, one of the best ways that you can continue to improve is by wrestling, right? So, and not just wrestling your training partner over and over. You need to get out there and wrestle. It's like practice reps aren't the same as live reps. It's the same thing. So, well, we got to go a ways back for our last podcast, and I apologize to everybody that listens on a regular basis. We've been busy and schedules haven't really lined up, and we try to make this a more regular weekly thing, but it hasn't really fell into place. But if we go back far enough, the first thing we need to talk about, Minnesota versus Sdsu. And we went back there. That was quite a while ago. And why don't you start us off with how that went?
Yes. So that would have been the Sunday after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
We went up to Minnesota to wrestle the number 12 ranked Golden Gophers at the time. Minnesota unfortunately beat us 27-12. But starting out at 165, Tanner Cook came out, and if you guys remember that podcast, all I talked about, we need bonus points and we can't give up bonus points. And Tanner Cook came out of the gate right away and did exactly what he needed to do and got us a pin in 3 minutes and 52 seconds.
Yeah, and it was, I think I called it in the first period on that one, but not, I think I called it a little earlier than that. Next up, we had Cade Devos, and I might be a broken record if I say this, if I talk about Cade more than once as we go through these things. But Cade, man, he's really been wrestling great. We saw the improvement we've kind of expected to see out of that guy, and he's kicking tail. He went up there and got a decision against the number 21 rated wrestler in the country. That'd be Jared Kratinger. I'm hoping I say that right. And right now, or at the time, he was ranked 17th. Cade's wrestling real well, and I think outside of Clay Carlson, he's my favorite for our next national champion, honestly. And I believe in Clay, and I think he can get it done too. But if he doesn't, I think it's going to be Cade after that. I mean, gosh, the guy's good. Well, or I guess I can't forget. We have a pretty good guy at 197 pounds too, right? But anyway, go on.
And then at 184, actually, I'm going to touch back on 74 quick because I can't get this off my mind right now. Cade Devos is really becoming good on top, and that was where he needed to really improve on to be a college wrestler, and it is showing. Now, on to 184. Jacob Schoen got the nod that night for his first duel of the year, and he lost in a major decision to Isaiah Stalzer from Minnesota with a score of 10-1.
And up next, we had 197, which I just touched on. We had Tanner Sloan wrestling for us, and I think it's fair to say Tanner's maybe not 100% quite yet. That's just maybe an opinion by me, but he wrestled Michael Foy, and got the 9-3 decision there. He lost that match. So after that, we had
at 285, we had AJ Neville's. He went out against the Olympic gold champion, also number 1 in the country, heavyweight for Minnesota, named Gable Steveson. And AJ got tech falled at the 5-minute mark, 21-6.
And at 125, we had Tanner Jordon wrestling versus Patrick McKee. And Tanner lost there by major decision, 13-1.
At 133, Trayton Anderson got the nod for Sdsu, and he got defeated in a major decision, 10-2, with Jake Galivia winning that match.
And at 141 is the fan favorite, Clay Carlson. He got a major decision over 23rd ranked James Bergerlin, 12-3.
At 149, Michael Blockus of Minnesota defeated Zach Price 13-7 with the decision.
And then we finished out the duel with Brayton Lee of Minnesota getting a major decision over Kenny O'Neill. And neither one of us really wanted the score that way. We thought we could really maybe push for the win there, but it's how the cookie crumbled. After that, we had the Cliff Keen Las Vegas Invitational, and that went pretty well considering our guys are all sick. If you listen to Coach Hans' weekly updates, the team had about I don't think it was anything, but sounded like they kind of had the flu, and for sure AJ Neville's had it the worst. But I'll let you talk about that a little more.
Yes. So in the conversation with Coach Han and Hy-Vee, because we just seem to run into everybody everywhere anymore, he informed me that he actually had the text messages about typed up that he was only going to wrestle a couple kids out there once they got out there because everybody was sick. But the kids wanted to continue to wrestle, and one of the sickest one was Clay Carlson. And guess what? He came out as a champion. As a team, we placed 12th out of 26 teams there. There was 10 different teams that had a champion. We were one of the 10. No teams had 2 champions in the tournament. So that's a big accomplishment for Sdsu. And congratulations to Clay Carlson on that pin with that grit and motor to get the pin at the end.
Hey, he was pinning guys a lot. And if you watch him wrestle a lot, that's not necessarily what he's known for. He's really kicking tail, so good for him. Cade went out there and wrestled real well too. He got 4th, and noteworthy wrestler was again, you were talking about AJ, right?
Yep. And then AJ Neville's got 6th place. I know that AJ wrestled a very good tournament. I know that I personally was looking forward to seeing AJ rematch with Nebraska this last weekend. Unfortunately, that did not happen. But I do know that AJ banged up his knee that weekend a little bit, but he is returned and is back to wrestling, and he competed last weekend. So I don't think that's really a worry at all that us Jackrabbit fans need to be worried about right now.
Yeah, and a shout out to Luke Silverberg and Marty over at the Rabbit. The Rabbit Rant. They have a good podcast going on too, but they said in their podcast that they thought he tweaked up his knee, but as it turns out, he's doing okay. So I think it looked worse or maybe felt worse than it actually was at the beginning. You know, sometimes you get hurt and it really hurts at the beginning, and then a day or two later it's not so bad. But a lot of times, you know, you think you get a little bit of a hurt, and then, you know, the next day it's terrible. So I think it's the opposite of what most people thought it was going to be. What's up next, Jordan?
Let's just run through the 10 kids that did compete at the Las Vegas. At 125, we had Tanner Jordon. He went in as the 8th seed. Unfortunately, he finished the tournament with a record of 2-1. Won a match to Wyoming, and then lost a close one in Northern Colorado, and then got pinned by Cal Poly. And that was his tournament there.
And then at 133, we had Caleb Gross, and he also had a 1-2 record. He lost to Chris Cannon in Northwestern by major, 13-2, and then he decisioned Dylan Kuntz of Ohio State 5-3. So that was a good match for him. But then he ended up wrestling number 10, Anthony Sobotker. Boy, I can't. I'm going to just kill that. Sobotker. From Binghamton. We wrestled them down in the Pentagon down here, and he got pinned at 2:33 in the first period. So
at 141, we've already touched on Clay Carlson. He went 4-0 on the weekend, got a pin in the championship match at 6 minutes and 55 seconds. He wrestled phenomenal down there with 2 pins and then 2 decisions.
And at 149 pounds, we had Dan Kimball wrestling, and he actually got 0-2 record. He lost to the number 6 wrestler, Legend Lamer, by decision, and then he also lost to Cody Kimura from Kent State. And he wrestled that guy again later on, right? And got the win.
Last weekend,
right? So he got to turn it around a little bit. I'm jumping ahead, but shout out to Danny Kimball for getting that win and, you know, avenging that loss.
For anybody that is thinking Lamer, I know that name for all of our Sdsu fans. Yes, that would be our Hall of Fame. One of our Hall of Fame wrestlers at Sdsu, Chad Lamer's son.
Chad Lamer. Yeah. Well, that's his son. Oh, okay.
Yep. At 157, we had Kenny O'Neill. He went 1-2. He lost an 8-2 decision to Coleman, and then he defeated Brock Rogers from Cal State Bakersfield, and then he lost to Charles Darricon from Sanford, 8-1.
And then we had Mr. Cement Mixer at 165 pounds, Tanner Cook. And I think probably not the way he wanted things to go. He got a major decision on his first match versus Cody Eaton of Northern Colorado. He defeated him 18-7. And then he lost his next 2. He lost to Joshua. I'm not even Oris, the dude from Columbia. Okay. His last name's really long and I'm just going to kill it. So I'm not going to try. And then that guy's ranked number 10. So, and then he lost to number 9, Joseph Corello from Oklahoma. And unfortunately got the pin there in 2 minutes and 29 seconds in.
I'm excited to see Tanner rematch against Joseph later on in the season.
I am too, because I think it will go differently.
I don't quote me on this, but I'm pretty sure that Cook was one of them feeling under the weather that weekend. And I do know that he is still trying to recover from that injury at the DAC Open a little bit. He's getting better and better every day. At 174, we had Cade Devos. He went 4-2 at the tournament. He defeated Shane Finney of Navy 4-3 to open the tournament. Then defeated, actually he went, 4-2 on the weekend. Then he defeated Hayden Hastings of Wyoming. First he defeated Tyler Eschenson of Sanford 7-3. And then he lost to the number 1 seed of the tournament, Mikey Labarolia of Nebraska 6-2. That was another matchup that I felt like we were going to go in and have a good matchup against him in Nebraska. Unfortunately, it did not work. And then he defeated number 6, Troy Fisher of Northwestern, 5-1. And then he lost to the number 3 seed, Christopher Foca of Cornell, 8-2 in his 4th place match, which, I mean, Cornell's Cornell. And I think that's another match that is very winnable.
In case anybody hadn't already known the upcoming Nebraska duel that we had, and we keep kind of referencing it, but that was supposed to be, just December 18th, last Saturday. That obviously got canceled. So if you weren't aware, if you don't follow close enough and you didn't know, that's what we keep talking about. And also, speaking of the future, we did have the upcoming Midlands Championships, which it doesn't show canceled on the website, but that's been canceled. And instead, the guys are going to be going to, what are they calling that? The Hawkeye Open, right?
That is not – the Hawkeye Open is not official if we're going to that or not. That's just something that I see on Twitter. When I talked to Damien, he did say that they're weighing options for their red shirts to be able to go wrestle someplace else.
Okay. Well, I mean, online, I just saw that the Hawkeye Open is replacing the Midlands tournament, so I thought we'd probably end up having some guys there. So my bad, a little bit of a assumption there. After we got done talking about Cade's wrestling, we had Tate Batani. He was wrestling at 184, and he lost a couple matches. Lost to the kid from Princeton, Travis Stefanik, and lost to the kid from Cal State Bakersfield, Jacob Hansen. And the first one was a major decision, and the second was a regular decision. So
at 197, the whole time, the plan was to send Tanner Sloan out there to let him get some matches out there and then withdraw him from the tournament early. It was just to let him see some more good, stiff competition, just keep working his way back into the lineup and get his body back there. But he went on to win his first match, 6-2 against Tyler Bates. And then he lost to Gavin Hoffman from Ohio State, 4-3. And then the coaches and Tanner decided to withdraw him from the tournament after that. So he ended up with a 1-1 record out there.
Yeah, and I'll have to apologize. I said that when I was talking about the wrestler rankings, that was really their seedings in the tournament. So my apologies. Normally we have numbers by guys, that's their ranking, and I know that's the seeding for this, but if you heard me earlier say that, I was really talking about the seeding. And AJ Neville was our next wrestler at heavyweight, and he had a pretty good tournament. He wrestled a lot of matches, and I know that if you listen to Han, Han went over and asked him, was like, "Hey man, I know you're not feeling well. Do you want to just pull out of this deal?" And he told him, "I'm already this far. Let's just go." So he ended up getting 5th, right? And he defeated the guy, Sam Aguiar from Cal Poly, 6-0 in his first match. Nick Copeland, he pinned from Sacred Heart in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. And then he had his first loss versus the 3-seeded Christian Lance of Nebraska. And I think had we had that duel, I think we would have saw a much tighter match there too. again, he was one of the worst guys of the weekend. They're not feeling well. Excuse me, just a second. Speaking of that, apparently I got some indigestion going on here. Sorry, this is great radio. Then he went on to wrestle the kid from Utah Valley, Jaden Woodruff, and I know that he's wrestled them guys before out there at Utah Valley because they were in the same conference. Michael McAlvey from the Citadel, he beat him 10-3. And then he lost to Tate Ordenough in the wrestle back there, who was the number 1 seed. That's the and I think that kid used to wrestle out Utah Valley, if I'm not right, or his brother, maybe it was. That's what I was referring to earlier. But yeah, he wrestled for Ohio State, and he lost by a point there. So that was a close match. And then he ended the night with another loss to the kid from Northwestern, and he got pinned, unfortunately. So that was the tournament. It was a pretty good tournament overall for guys to experience, I think. But Vegas is not what you and I would think of Vegas being if you're going out there to wrestle the whole time. So
no, and Vegas is probably the toughest early on tournament of the year. I mean, there's 26 teams there. I mean, obviously, if 10 of them can have champions out of 26 teams, everybody there is a very good team that competes there. I think that they went out and wrestled extremely well with the how it all went out there and with all their sicknesses. And Vegas has never been a really good place for the Jackrabbits or Coach Han, as Han will say that he's lost national matches out there to make Olympic teams and stuff like that. So I think it was nice to see the tides turn and everything go on like that.
Yeah, and then the next thing we had coming up, we had another cancellation in our schedule, I guess. And that's where they ended up going out to having the quad out in DeKalb. So that's what we talked about that a little earlier, and we'll talk about some of the results here. We wrestled against Harper College first, or Hacko, as the guys were saying on the other podcast. And I don't know what division level they are at, but we did defeat them 59-0. And I don't know if there's any particular outcome there you'd like to highlight.
We got 9 falls there. Once again, everybody got the fall besides Caleb Gross, and he got a tech fall. So we were 1 away from a perfect duel score there.
Tanner Jordon also did not get a fall because they got a forfeit.
Yeah, still 6 points though. So
yeah, still 6 points. So then we went on to wrestle Kent State and had some real good matches there. I think we won 33-6. And what would you like to highlight about that?
Once again, Clay Carlson is turning into a pinning machine. He's given Tanner Cook a run for his money here lately on pins this season, but Clay pin.
Yeah, sorry. But Tanner Cook got his pin 3 minutes faster at 19 seconds. So that's a quick pin, I would say.
That is a quick pin. And then also Tanner Jordon got defeated at 125, 6-4. That was a overtime match. And if my memory is right, that kid is either a national qualifier last year or an AA, or was an All-American last year. So he's right in there for that battle. I think that's also a 6-year kid, if I remember listening to Han's stuff right. So that kid's got some college experience that our freshman Tanner Jordon went in there and gave him a match.
And we did talk about Danny Kimball getting the win against Cody Kimura, and 5-2 he won there. So getting the vengeance win there. So it's good to see Nick get a win there. He won his match 12-0, got a major decision. The big guy got his win, and then we went on to wrestle. Probably the hardest of the quad was wrestling Northern Illinois, and we ended up coming home with a win there as well. So we won all of our duels, three of them. 26-9, we beat NIU, and I'll let you talk about a couple matches there.
Once again, Clay Carlson, the pinning machine. And then another match, unfortunately, went the wrong way for Sdsu, but Tanner Cook won another 7 minutes in a match, dropped it 8-3, but he had to wrestle him 7 minutes. As we know, as time comes up, it'll be better to see him get some of these matches in, so we know his shape's in good shape going into March. And then Nick Casperson, again, wrestled really good last weekend. It's kind of a bummer that we have Tanner Cook and he's coming back from Tanner Sloan and he's coming back for injury, because Nick Casperson is really starting to open that offense up and score and have some fun right now.
Yeah, as we talked about a little bit earlier in the year, I think 197 is more natural spot for Nick, kind of, and he doesn't have to cut or worry about what he eats or anything, and I think he does really well at that weight, and it's kind of showing. AJ got another win, and our guys are now 4-1 on the dual season, heading into the Big 12 conference. And why don't you talk about how we're scoring?
So this year for our dual scores, if you combine all 5 duels, we're up 164-52 on our teams right now for dual points. And like I preached, and we'll learn going into the Big 12 conference, it'll be the same thing. Bonus points matter, and you have to score bonus points. So that big of a spread right there is huge, because we've shown that our bonus points really do matter. Yes, we've wrestled 4 duels of not necessarily Big 12 conference opponents, but still duels are duels, and we're learning that we have to put bonus points up and not give bonus points up when the time comes.
Got to have that offense, and we want those bonus points. Nothing like pinning all your opponents like we did that first, well, almost all your opponents, like we did that first duel. Not probably the level of competition we'll see on a week-to-week basis in Frost, but just thanks to everybody that made that happen for our wrestlers to get some opportunities. There were some really good matches in there, and again, it's different when you're wrestling guys other than your training partners, so it's really good to get that experience.
Something else that I do want to touch on, that we did not last weekend, we seen Cade King return to the lineup after injury this fall to Sdsu at 184 this year instead of 174. He bumped up a weight, and he did go 2-1 on the weekend. He did get defeated to Britt Wilson from Northern Illinois. That is their stud wrestler. He lost to him 5-2. Britt is ranked 8th in the country right now at 184, and I believe is also an AA from last year.
Yeah, that's my recollection too. So what do you want to talk about next, Jordan?
So then, I don't know if anybody heard, unfortunately, the matchup of the weekend that a lot of people were looking forward to. I know Clay was really looking forward to it. Clay was on the radio here in Brookings last week. The wrestling team goes Facebook Live, or 2 weeks ago now. I don't know. The finals week, everything's just kind of been a blur here this last month. But Clay was really looking forward to a Clay Carlson versus Chad Red match. And unfortunately, the Nebraska Huskers duel got canceled, obviously. So that match did not happen. I don't know. Will it ever happen? I was looking at the schedule. We are not scheduled to meet them anywhere until the NCAA tournament. So Clay will have to ride out his hopes of – that's one person that he said he kind of has on his hit list, or whatever you want to call his list of matches to win.
A guy he really liked to wrestle and beat. Yeah.
Yep. So he will have to wait till the NCAA tournament to see if that happens.
All right. So we got some stuff upcoming. And I guess we had some other wrestling going on too, right?
Yeah. So our true freshmen, red shirt freshmen here, they have been busy wrestling in open tournaments. And along with some of our second stringers. At the Cyclone Open, they do something a little different down there at Iowa State for their open tournament. They do a freshman and sophomore division, and then they do an open division where it can be anybody that's graduated high school. We came home with 4 champions down there. Derrick Cardinal at 133, Alec Martin at 149, Connor Greger at 165, and Roman Radchuzzi. I'm going to butcher that for the next 5 years. But Roman Radgutz, I don't even know. Sorry, Roman.
Isn't it Rotsky?
I'm
gonna look it up. You keep talking.
Okay. Them were 4 champions down there. They were all in the freshman sophomore division. They're all red shirts this year that we'll see next year try and break into the lineup. At second place, we had Cale Swenson at 157, and then Cody Donley at 197. They were also both in the freshman sophomore division. They finished second. And third, and they're also both redshirt freshmen this year that we'll see battle it out next year. In third place, we had Bailey Roble. He's our 125-pounder. Sam Kruger, he's a 184-pounder. They are both red shirts this year that we'll get to see battle it out next year. And then Bowen McConnellville finished third in the open division at heavyweight, as Bowen is our backup heavyweight right now. Fourth place, you've seen Hunter McCall at 197. He is also a freshman sophomore division. And then Caleb Gross at 133 and Jack Thompson at 157. Both finished fourth in their open division signs.
I'm gonna try. I can't find a pronunciation, but I think it's Rogatsky.
I believe you are right now that
Rogatsky.
You said that.
And I might have got it right, but we started saying it and it really threw me off. So Roman, maybe we need to interview that guy, have him on the pod, and he can straighten us out. Then up after that, we had the Doan Open, which is also another opportunity for our lower underclass guys to wrestle, the guys that don't wrestle in the duels and so forth. And we had 3 guys get first there. Alec Martin at 149 pounds, Cale Swenson at 157, and Cody Donnelly, who's really shaping up to be a heck of a wrestler, at 197. Now, the story behind him is pretty interesting. That's a guy that didn't really intend on wrestling at Sdsu. He's a tall, skinny guy. He's from Phillip, a real scrapper. I believe he came to kind of play football. And if I'm not correct, Zilvi was the one that talked him to coming out for wrestling. And so if you listen to their most recent podcast, you can learn a little bit more about that.
He was a DN, came here to be a DN for the football team.
Yeah. He's like 6'7".
Yeah, he's tall.
Yeah, he's very tall.
He's a very interesting matchup to wrestle.
So we had another couple guys placed there. Derrick Cardinal at 133 pounds. This is the second place that he got. And also the guy whose name we love to butcher, Roman Rogatsky, also at 184 pounds.
And once again, them are all freshmen that are redshirting this year.
Yeah.
And then for people that don't know, I guess we should probably touch on this quick. So for our not very into the program people that are just listening to this because they're Jackrabbit fans, in wrestling, you can redshirt and you can compete at tournaments unattached. You're not allowed to wear anything Sdsu or have the Sdsu coaches in your corner. So, and you have to provide all your own transportation, hotel, everything like this. So none of this is paid for by Sdsu for all these freshmen. They do it all themselves. They coach with each other in their own corners as friends. And this is just them getting matches to want to continue to move on and get time and experience for next year so they can try and break into the lineup.
Yeah, wrestling's a unique sport that way. It's a unique sport in a lot of ways, but the NCAA doesn't see it as any way to make money, so they don't care what wrestling does. If we're being honest, that's really what it comes down to.
And then some of the wrestlers headed to the University of Northern Iowa Open. Cody Donley again at 197 got second, with Bowen also getting second. Roman got third at 184. Kimball was a fourth place finisher at 149. And Cade King, this was his first time back for this year. He got fifth at 184. and Cale Swenson got 6th at 157. Once again, all these kids are really just, most of them are freshmen, minus Bowen and Cade that competed at these, that are out there to get some matches, and they are going to continue to get better. And we got to remember they're the 10th recruiting class in the country, and I love their ambition to go out there and want to get better and wrestle in all these opens.
Yeah, and they're really doing quite well, I think. I think if you listen to the, again, I'm going to plug the other podcast, the Rabbit Rant. If you listen to them, they interview Cade Devos, and Cade talked a little bit about how it was wrestling as a freshman. And wrestling in college is a completely different level than high school, and especially if you're a kid that's dominating at high school, you go from being the best kid in the area to maybe having a lot of kids that are at a similar skill set as you. And so just wanted to point that out, that transitioning into college wrestling isn't easy for pretty much anyone. It's quite the change of pace. Up next, let's talk a little bit about our little game that you have here, Jordon. For you, those of you that don't know, Jordon is at wrestling at. Oh no, I'm going to screw this up. South Dakota Wrestling Scouting Report. Is that right?
Yes, I believe that is correct.
On Twitter.
Yeah.
And he's had this thing where he kind of makes predictions on the SDSU matches of the outcomes and assigned points. And he wrote me in to doing it with him, and I'm glad we're doing it. Other than I don't like picking against our guys. I'll be real honest. I love our team. I want to favor them in every match, and I probably do a little more than I should, but I don't want to pick against the guys because that's just not my style. But we started with the SDSU versus Minnesota Duel, and we'll just go over the totals of how that came out, Jordon, for me. If you would.
Yeah, so at that one, the final score was 13-27, favor Minnesota. You had it picked at 19-17, favor of SDSU. I had it 18-14, favor of SDSU. Like you said, I think we kind of like to pick our own guys a little more, but we both ended up with 12 points at that duel. When we went to wrestle Harper, which I believe, if I remember right, is a JUCO college. That's where they're doing right now. Our final score there was 59 SDSU, 0 Harper. You predicted 44-0, and I predicted 50-0, so neither one of us got that right. But we both predicted points for 14 matches. I guess I should touch on points quick. If we predict the winner, you get a point, and then if you predict the decision, major, tech, or fall, you get another point. And if you predict the final score correctly, you get a 10-point bonus.
And so we didn't get everyone the exact same, but one that I didn't get 2 points on, you got 2 points on, and one that you didn't get 2 points on, I got 2 points on, if that makes sense. So after that, we had South Dakota State wrestled the Kent State match, and again, the final there was 33-6 SDSU, and we didn't do our best picking on that one. I predicted 31-6, and you predicted 32-6. So we were real close that way, but in the matches, we didn't exactly get a lot of points. I got 8 and you got 9.
Yep, I got my first win of the year. Had to start somewhere. Had to get that one, as I'm moving my hand the wrong way right now because that mirror image.
Then after that, we move on to South Dakota State versus Northern Illinois. Again, the final score there was 26-9, and we had predicted. I predicted 25-14, and you predicted 25-13. I got a point back on you there, 9-8, and why don't you explain what the total is there?
Okay, so how we're doing it this year is our records. Each duel we compete against each other. That record is Chad's got 2 wins, I got 1 win, we got 2 ties, and then we're also adding all the points together throughout the year. And right now, Chad's got a 1-point lead, 55-54 on me. I tied him up, but then that Northern Illinois duel helped him get back in the lead in front of me there.
Yeah, and unlike maybe Brandon, if you follow the other podcast, I don't think I'll go 0-9. That takes talent. I gotta put a poke out to my buddy there, but one of the next things we have coming up is the Southern Scuffle. This is, I think, the second time that we've participated in that. It's a fairly large event. Held in Chattanooga, Tennessee, home of the Mocs, and yeah, I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit quick.
Yeah. So there's 32 out of the 77 Division One programs in NCAA wrestling will be there. So I mean, it's a very good taste of where we're gonna line up going out the rest of the year. SDSU is sending 17 wrestlers. 15 of them will wrestle for SDSU. We'll have coaches that can wear SDSU stuff. 2 of them cannot because they're true freshmen that are redshirting. So they will be on their own to get out there and do all their own activities. The 2 that are going that are true freshmen will be Alex Martin at 149 and then Cale Swenson at 157. So if you're looking at the brackets, them will be names that you'll have to look for that will not have SDSU by their names. The other ones that we are sending is going to be Tanner Jordon at 125, Caleb Gross and Trayton Anderson at 33, Clay Carlson at 41. Going with the team will be Danny Kimball and Zach Price at 49. At 57, we're sending Kenny O'Neill. At 65, we'll have Tanner Cook and Jack Thompson. Thompson's making the jump up from 57 to try 65 out for this weekend. At 74, we'll have Cade Devos. At 84, we're taking Cade King. At 197, we're taking both Tanner Sloan and Nick Casperson. And at heavyweight, we'll be taking AJ and Bowen both out there to wrestle.
And I'd just like to apologize to Alec Martin and Vance. Your name comes out, Alex, quite often on accident because people are used to saying Alex and not Alec. So please forgive us. And up next, we're going to talk about, we got Jackrabbits ranked on Flow Wrestling. We have 8 of 10 recognized. At 125, we got Tanner Jordon as an honorable mention. Clay Carlson's ranked 7th at 141 pounds, and at 149 pounds, Zach Price, honorable mention. 165, Tanner Cook, also an honorable mention. And Cade DeVos is ranked 12th at 174. Cade King comes in also with an honorable mention at 184. And so does Tanner Sloan and AJ Neville's. And yeah, go ahead, Jordan.
Flo currently has us ranked 31st as a team. Out of these eight out of the 10 weights, like we're sure putting together a good team right now. I think that this week or this coming next weekend, the Southern Scuffle, which is I believe January 1 and 2, will be a true testament. We put some good matches in there. I expect to see all 8 of these kids could jump into the rankings. Or 6 of them that are not ranked right now. They're all right there beating on the door. So that'll be interesting. WrestleStat is another ranking system that goes around, and they have both our tournament and duels as us ranked 27th in the nation. So they got us currently right around that area.
That and Flo always is garbage against us. I don't know why they have something against us. And yeah, so 27th I feel is more realistic.
I think either way, I think our dual teams are better than that when we get our lineup here going, and it'll be an interesting time as we continue to wrestle on into the Big 12 conference.
Yeah, and sorry.
No, go on.
And I was just going to say, and that starts again January 9th up at Frost. We got a triangular with Wyoming and Northern Iowa. Bang for the buck. You folks, if you don't have season tickets, it's a steal of entertainment value if you enjoy wrestling. You won't get a better value for your money that day, I don't think, anywhere in the state or nearby. We start wrestling Wyoming at noon 30. That's what I call it, 12:30. And then we wrestle Northern Iowa at 2. So, Jordan has a challenge to everybody. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, Jordan?
So if you follow my Twitter page, or our last podcast we talked about this. Our first duel of the year against Augustana, we had 869 people. I challenge every one of us to bring a friend, have your friend bring a friend. Selling out Frost Arena starts with us, and we need to put an atmosphere on for these wrestlers to compete at. Both of these duels are going to be extremely close duels. It's going to probably come down to bonus points, just like 90% of our Big 12 conference matches will this year. We need Frost to bring the atmosphere to propel these wrestlers into the next thing. I'll go out and talk about something a little personal. As people that have attended the duels, if you don't know who I am, I'm the kid that sits in the student section and bibs and freaks out and has a good time on the Sdsu side. So with that, I'm not going to lie. When I go home, I get text message from these wrestlers thanking me for helping bring the energy. Now let's all do it, and they'll thank us by winning matches. I can promise you that much. So January 9th, I believe, don't quote me on this. This is just going off what I believe. Wyoming and Northern Iowa duel at 11. We duel them two for the last two duels. So that's 3 duels for your price of admission. It's going to be good. Bring your friends. Everybody bring one friend. Let's get 100 or 1,738 fans there this time.
Jackrabbit fans.
Everybody can bring another friend, and we'll go on from there.
I'll tell you what, Jordan. I'm more than willing to wear bibs. I know you know it. And I'll sit by you, and we can make a ruckus together. We'll get everybody into it. If you haven't been to Frost to see the atmosphere at a wrestling duel, you are missing out. You need to get there. One last thing I want to just touch on before we go. We just want to talk again about this is the 4th annual Jackrabbit Wrestling Club and Raffle and Silent Auction. It's a chance for one person to go home with $10,000. That's a bunch of money, guys. And that's January 29th from 4 to 9 at the 9. And $250 gets all you can drink for you and one other person. It's not very hard to drink $125 of alcohol in a bar, is it? And you get to sit and chew the fat with other wrestling fans and the coaches. You can't really beat that. They also are taking sponsorships. If you guys have some money, you want to help sponsor that event, just get a hold of the coaches. And there's an opportunity at some other things with the silent auction, some cool Jackrabbit swag, if you will. And you can purchase those tickets at jackrabbitwrestlingclub.org.
Yep. Make sure to make it a night. Come up January 28th against West Virginia. It's a Friday night, 7 p.m. And then get them tickets and stay for the 9s or the Jackrabbit Wrestling Club Raffle and Silent Auction. I do want to touch on something else that was kind of covered that I didn't do a great job, that you did a good job at jumping in and saying. With the club, or with this goes to the JWC, not SDSU's wrestling, like not the legit Jackrabbits wrestling. This is JWC. This raffle and this benefit deal, it helps provide things like for us, like this helped cover Coach Bergey's pay,
transportation, hotel rooms.
Yep, everybody to Mexico, Tanner Sloan went to Brazil or wherever. Like it pays for the summer wrestling, not the school year. So if you're sitting here thinking, I don't want to go do this to help SDSU wrestling, this is to help them do their freestyle stuff in the summer and that kind of stuff. It goes to a great cause. And I know that it's always been on Coach Hahn's list to get some people in here to train full-time, JWC training people that would compete for Olympics and stuff like that. This also helps them to continue to be able to reach out and try and do that.
Yeah, and it's how the team really grows and gets better. It's great for wrestling in the state of South Dakota. There's nothing bad about it. It's a fantastic deal. You know what? We had the Track the Jack. It was a great success as far as in my book anyway. And yeah, excuse me. All great things come from this. And yeah, so we'll hope to see you at the next duel.
We'll see everybody January 9th.
All right. Thanks for. Oh, one last thing. I knew there was one more thing I wanted to cover, and I was struggling with it. I just like to give a shout out to Drake's Place out in Bowdle, one of our title sponsors for. Hey, Jeremy. Merry Christmas to you, sir. That's a former roommate of mine. He's a big wrestling fan. Love that guy. He listens to our podcast religiously, and thank you, sir. Drake's Place out in Bottle for sponsoring Jackrabbit Illustrated this year, and also Cottonwood Coffee is a title sponsor that we have there in Brookings. And you can go get coffee from them, or you can hit their bistro and get some. I hear they have really great breakfast sandwiches. I haven't had a chance to check that out. I don't live in Brookings, and I very rarely get up there that early unless I'm trying to drink a beer for tailgating. And and then I'm trying to set up. So, but thanks to our sponsors, and go Jacks.
Go Jacks, and happy holidays.
Hey, Merry Christmas, everybody.